This is Cara Pressley, your favorite career cheerleader, and I'm back with another amazing interview. You guys stay tuned while I bring you our next guest, new and upcoming real estate mogul. Okay, we're back, and today I'm going to bring you a real estate mogul, somebody who's actually making waves in their field, in their industry. I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves and give you their own definition. So, sir, what is your name and what's your official title?
Yes, so my name is Sam Dolciné. Thank you so much for having me. I'm a real estate investor. I am a podcast host, and I have a platform called Black Real Estate Dialogue. So hopefully that suffices for the definition. I love that question.
Yeah. I love that, actually. You know, it's the Black Real Estate Dialogue for me. Of course, we're in the era of like a lot of Black on this, Black shopping that, but like some people have their personal reasons as to why they want to reinvest in specifically the Black community. You want to share?
Absolutely. So a couple of reasons. So about 5 years ago, I hit a turning point and I realized that my retirement account was not going to be enough to live a decent life when I got into my old age. And so I took the next 12 months to learn everything I could about investing in real estate before I bought my own property. And what I realized was that a lot of the information I was getting was not from people who looked like me. So there was good information, but there was a relatability factor that wasn't there. And so I searched for this and I couldn't find it. And so I had a conversation with a friend and I said, hey, I'm thinking about starting a show where I can highlight our people and get stories from our people, give them a platform and give the information out to anybody who will listen. He said, do it. And so I went from there and started the platform in 2019. And around that same time, I also learned about redlining. And so those two things really motivated me to start the platform to fulfill a need that I saw and to put out there what I wish that I had. Because the reality of it is, for many of us in the community, in the Black community specifically, this is not dinner table talk. Investing in real estate, buying a property. As a matter of fact, these days people feel like it's so far out of reach for them. So for me, it's really a joy to put out practical information and tips that people can use to get to their goal of investing in real estate. Most Americans, their wealth is in their home, right? So it's only right that we get a piece of that pie.
Like many entrepreneurs, you are a problem solver. That's the point, right? Is to really get out here and say, I needed this. This helped me. How can I formulate it in a way that's going to actually help someone else, instead of what they call it, gatekeeping, keeping it all to yourself and not even pushing the culture forward. That's super important work. So thank you for all you do already. Well, let's talk about your background. What got you? We know, rocks and hard places get you into new realms of ideas and investing and change. But what is your true background in? What were you? What was that job with the not successful retirement plan that you probably thought was amazing at one point, right? What job was that?
Absolutely. So my career background is in HR, recruiting. That's pretty much what I've done my whole career. And most of it that I did do was in the nonprofit sector. And obviously we know the nonprofit sector, you don't make the most money. And so my background career-wise was completely unrelated to everything I'm doing now, just with the media platform, with the investing. It's complete opposite of what I'm doing now. But that's what got me started or that's where I was when I got started.
Okay, that's interesting. I'm going to take it further back. What did you want to be when you were growing up? Like the first inklings of, I want to be this. What was it? Is it in a similar lane or was it completely different?
Absolutely not. So when I was growing up in Brooklyn, I thought people who owned houses were rich people. People who invested were rich people. And I didn't know if I'd be rich unless I became a basketball player. So like every other Black kid in Brooklyn, I thought I was going to the NBA, and obviously it didn't work out for the majority of us, but that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a basketball player. And, once I knew that dream was not going to happen, when I got to college, I thought about being a few different things. But it's funny, I was looking at one of my assignments from college. I randomly found this at my parents' place. And in that book, I don't think I've ever shared this, in that booklet or in that workbook, I wrote about my vision of being like a businessman and walking into my office and all that type of stuff. So I guess I'm heading on the right track.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm going to say, like, I like to ask that question because you find that it ends up coming up in some way, either a direction you were meant to go in or we're even having difficulty in, all of a sudden it comes back in the long run. When I was younger, I hated math, and my dad was like, "You're gonna get a job where you got to use math every day." And I worked for the IRS for 20 years, so I
Wow.
definitely was counting, but I transitioned that into education. So I love the journey. I love the evolution. Since you're now an entrepreneur, and are you an entrepreneur, or because
Yes.
okay, so this is full time.
Yes.
I mean, cause shout out to the dualpreneurs out there. We know sometimes you have to just, slowly
Yes.
transition into this, but I love that that's full time for you. Since you've been on your journey, what are some of the challenges that you faced, whether it be personally or professionally? I think sometimes we like to pigeonhole it into this is the biggest personal challenge, family, friends, or this is the biggest professional challenge, but sometimes they run hand in hand. So what have you experienced so far?
Yes, I love that. Love that question. I appreciate that. So the biggest challenge for me when I first started, I didn't know how to do anything. Specifically, I didn't really know how to use social media like that. I didn't know how to like create posts. As a matter of fact, I didn't even know when I first started how I was going to record everything. And so I had to learn so much from scratch. And anyone who feels like they want to take the time to look back what things looked like in 2019 is far better now, like the quality of the content, the delivery of the material. And, I just knew this is what I want to do. This is how I want to serve my community. And I'm willing to go through the bumps and bruises and figuring out as I go how to do all this stuff because it's not really a playbook. So I would say that was one of the challenges. The second challenge is as the platform has gotten larger, more people are seeing it. And with that, there are a lot of great supportive and positive comments, but I guess I'm surprised with a lot of the negative comments I get sometimes. And, it's difficult not to take things personally. And usually someone is being negative towards you. It's not even about you. But I think that's challenging sometimes, just like seeing some of the adverse reactions to certain things. But, it comes with the territory. And I do my best to take it in stride and just focus on the people who the information is for and who enjoy the information. So a lot of challenges, but those are the first two that come to mind.
Absolutely. No, those are super important as well, especially the negativity piece, because I think we set out to do this thing and we expect it to look a certain way. And when responses, comments, feedback looks differently than what we planned for, it can be hard to pivot. So shout out to you for taking that in stride and just rolling with the punches. It's necessary. You got to have some thick skin in this game. So shout out to you. And I feel like, because you have a podcast, you can turn those challenges into conversation and really deep dive the way a lot of people don't. A lot of people just talk surface level when it comes to business. And for some reason, people tend to just focus on money and followers lately. But it's not all about the income. It's really about the educational piece. So shout out to you for learning it all and teaching others as well. I love that. Right now you have a podcast, you're an investor, full-time investor. I saw the merch. I'm gonna give me a shirt. I like I'm not a real estate investor, but I am a Black homeowner, so I like that. Have a lot of avenues, things happening. What is your goal or your next level dream, and do you have an ultimate dream? Some people are using investing or their entrepreneurial journey to actually transition into something else. Do you have another next level or ultimate dream you want to reach?
Absolutely. So as far as Black Real Estate Dialogue, I certainly see it growing into a larger media company. So I want to do documentaries, I want to do films, I want to do events throughout the country and really expand the way that we can serve the community. And so I have a lot of big dreams for the organization and where I think it can go. It's only the beginning, the way I see it. And there's so much more that can be done, so much service that can be provided. And so that is definitely a goal of mine. Something else that I do is I also help folks who are interested in buying out-of-state properties, who live in expensive cities, to invest. So I started that this year. And so looking to growing that and helping more people succeed and buy that first out-of-state property. So I have a lot of goals and dreams. Of course, continue to grow the real estate portfolio as well. So, a lot going on in my mind these days.
Okay. I love that. Do you already have out-of-state properties?
I do. I have several in Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah, I love that for you because I was just actually recently talking with, I talk to my son often about moving, right?
Yeah.
And I think this happens a lot for people. They start to weigh the benefits, and then when they get to the cons, I'm close to family, I don't want to fly back off or whatever may be going on.
Yeah.
They talk themselves out of it. So just the fact that you don't have to move permanently but can still invest, I think is something that should be shared. Why is that important for you?
So it's important for me because a lot of folks live in places where they just can't afford it, whether it's the coastal cities primarily or anywhere where they feel like they can't invest. But the fact of the matter is you can. There are a lot of other states where people need housing and not everyone can or wants to buy their own house, so they need a place to rent. And so I think it's a great opportunity to generate passive income, but also to provide clean and safe housing for an individual or couples or families or whoever. And so it's all about building that wealth long term, right? And
Right.
I think a big thing is thinking outside of the box. So even if someone doesn't necessarily want to, let's say, stay living in New York City and invest in like Chicago, some folks may have to consider moving somewhere else, even if you just want to buy a home for you to live in or your loved ones to live in, and maybe starting your investing journey as well in that same place. So I think it's really just about thinking outside the box, getting outside of the comfort zone, which is challenging. However, it can be done. And for me, I want people to know that it's possible. It's possible. It's just a matter of having the right information.
Yeah, I love the right information. We definitely need that. So I appreciate you for that. We're going to make sure we share that website before we end today. But I want to ask you probably one more question.
Yeah.
This is a personal question because I think sometimes, again, we run so much with the business and I want to do this and I'm trying to reach these goals. We still have to get back centered and grounded and back to ourselves. So for you, what is your favorite form of self-care? How do you take care of yourself at the end of the day, end of the quarter, or whenever you need to be your best self?
Yes, absolutely. So one is going to the gym. I always feel better when I go to the gym, and I talk to people a lot throughout the days. And for me, it's just an opportunity for me to have some time to myself and work out, release those endorphins, and I always feel better. Like the day I always just at least feel better throughout the day and more energized. So I would say going to the gym, and then also prayer. I'm a Christian, so prayer, I try to pray as consistently as possible and leave things in God's hands. So the combination of those two things usually set me off for a pretty good day.
Okay, good. Well, I love that. I think you're off to a great track, and I think you've definitely inspired some others in this interview. We needed all of that information. Before we close out, tell everybody where they can follow you online to follow the journey, or give us any last words, any promo coming up. What else do you want to share?
Yes, absolutely. So for anyone who wants to find me and keep up with me, you can find me on Instagram and all the social media outlets at Black Real Estate Dialogue. If you want to check out the show, you can check it out on YouTube at Black Real Estate Dialogue. If you want the audio experience, we have that too. It is Black Real Estate Dialogue on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And then as far as what's coming up, I do have a 4-week workshop coming up in January where I'll be breaking down the basics of how to buy your first out-of-state property. So you can find the information at outofstatemoney.com/workshop. If you want to chat some more, maybe do something one-on-one, just send me an email or a message on Instagram and I'd be happy to talk to you and hopefully I can help you out. And as far as last words, think about what you have been able to do or haven't been able to do as far as your real estate goals in 2023, and commit to yourself that you will make significant progress in 2024. Like I said, it's possible for you. Don't listen to the headlines. It's just a matter of being creative, getting the right information, putting a plan together and sticking to the plan, and you can make it possible. Even if you're the first person in your family to own anything, it can be done.
It can be done. I hope you guys loved every piece of this interview. This has been a great interview. I appreciate you for joining me. Those were perfect final words because we all need that. You can do it. I encourage you all to get educated and then just go execute. And we've got the person right here who has the information to share with you. Thank you again for joining me, Sam. I appreciate you. You guys, this is ESPN 106.1, the #1 in business radio with Cara Pressley and Mike King. Y'all stay tuned.